Praise the Lord, brothers and sisters. Man, it is hot here. And it hasn't even got the temperature it's supposed to get. It's supposed to get about 114 today. And, wow. We're trying everything we can to stay cool with the baby and everything. And, wow. So I want to share another dream with you that I believe was another insight, warning from the Lord about what's coming upon America. And if you guys keep up on, or maybe you were a family that had kids in school and they gave you the, I know I'm in California and I heard about the pandemic EBT, where I guess you not only get your EBT for each of your kids, but when they weren't in school, and I think that even though some schools, they went back to school, I think that Governor Newsom in California has extended that pandemic EBT, but you get if you get $385 for your kids or whatever, you get another $385 for your pandemic EBT if they're in school. But I know that was a thing that I was watching on certain news videos that they were, and reading on the government website, that's what they were doing for the kids that were out of school during this lockdown and whatever. And I think that it's been expanded even though they're in school. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I don't have any kids in school, so but if you were one of those families, you know that not only did you get the extra pandemic food stamps for your kids, but and even here in this town that I'm in and neighboring towns, I would see, if we passed a school, there would be signs on it to drive through. Parents could load their kids up, or just not even load their kids up, and drive through the school area. They'd have a thing set up to where you could give them the lunches and everything. Like bag lunches, they'd just hand it to you in your car for your kids. You could take it home or whatever and feed your kids, because a lot of children in America, the only good, which I wouldn't even call it good, but the only time that they would really eat a hot meal, a lot of children in America, is at school. And a lot of children hard to believe, but that's the reason why they love going to school, is because they get there in the morning, they get a hot breakfast, they get to have a hot lunch. And then, poverty, so even before the pandemic, is so rampant in America, and maybe they'd go home and have cold cereal or a bologna sandwich or something. I don't know, but a lot of families depend on the school to feed their kids. And with all this inflation and food and everything like that, they're extending this pandemic EBT. Some states have not extended it. Some states have. But still, it's like with all the inflation, you're not really even getting that much extra food. It seems like a lot. $700 in EBT or food stamps, but that might, towards the end of the month, that's running out real fast with the price of meat and everything, and it's just nuts right now, right? So I'm going to tell you, it's going to get worse. And I've been trying to be faithful to the Lord, to put these things out and put these warnings out and let people know that more food shortages are coming. It's going to get worse, and to stock up. Okay? So, with that being said, the dream that I had was I was shown a school. I was at a school. And I could see the cafeteria, and it was like an open out in the courtyard, the kids were walking around, everything. And I could see kids from all ages. I wasn't just shown okay, we're in elementary school, or it was some elementary, some junior high, some high school. And they were walking up to the side of the building where they were passing out food, like kind of a cafeteria. And I was standing in line behind this girl, and I could see, and the weirdest thing, they were dressed like Little House on the Prairie, like pioneer days, when Mama sewed your dress, and barefoot, run around barefoot. And she got her food, and she turned around and left, and then I walked up, and they went to give me my food, my little tray, and I'm telling you, it was like one of those little tiny, they had cut the tray down by like a quarter of the trays that they serve at they give you at the cafeteria. And the meat that they had on there, it was like, when you go to the deli and you see all those meats vacuum packed, and then you say, I want half a pound of ham or whatever, and they take it and they slice it. It was like that, but it was like turkey or chicken or something. And they had given maybe 1 ounce on that plate with a tiny little, maybe 2 tablespoons of mashed potatoes and a tablespoon of gravy. And I was looking at it, and the thing that stood out to me was the tray they gave it to me in. It was black. And then the food was in it, and black to me symbolizes it's not good. It's like famine. Famine, death. It's just bad. And I told the lunch lady, I said, well, this isn't the type of gravy that I like. Now, at this point, I'm like representing a child in school, and I'm like, well, I don't, and she's trying to convince me, no, this gravy's the best. This gravy's, with this look on her face, hoping that I would just be satisfied and walk away, which I did. I took my little food, and then I saw, I started walking away. Oh, and another thing, I remember that behind the counter, I was shown like 6 of those chickens vacuum packed, and that was it. And I remember thinking, that's not a lot. And I was aware that these children, some of these kids knew they were back there and wanted to steal them, or steal one of them, slip it under their dress and take it home to feed their family. Okay? And so anyway, I took my little tiny, it was like the size of my hand, my little lunch, like 5-bite lunch, and started walking with it. And I looked over, and I saw kids using the shower and the lockers, because I knew that they couldn't shower at home. I don't know if that means there wasn't power. I have no idea, you guys, but I just knew they couldn't shower at home, and they were using the shower at the lockers. And, I don't even think schools really use those things anymore. Now I thought, well, maybe this could be the Lord referencing the state of spiritual food and spiritual, showers. The Lord cleanses you, and that there isn't a lot of food going around, in the churches and on YouTube and stuff. But I don't think so. Or it might have a double meaning, but I don't think so. I think this is more confirmation to these food shortages are coming, and the schools, that there's not going to be a lot of food at the schools. And a lot of families that are in poverty depend on the schools to feed their kids a good meal, at least twice a day. And they get like free and reduced lunches and stuff. And then the scene switched, and I was out in the woods in this house. And I had a sister with me. I was like a teenager, I guess. And I had a sister with me, and I had a mom and a dad. And the dad, it was like Little House on the Prairie, you guys. The dad had went out and killed a deer or some some game. There was some game laying there, and I knew it was going to feed us for a couple days where we didn't have to butcher anything or whatever. But I knew, like, after that day or two that we cut meat off and ate it, that it was going to town time, that it was going to be preserved. The whole family was going to pitch in, and none of that meat was going to go to waste. Everything was going to be potted, jarred, canned, dried, and preserved. And I remember looking down at this skillet that my mom had, and she had cooked the intestines till they were crispy. And I leaned over and took one out. They were crispy and they looked good, actually, and I had one and it tasted good. But I knew that the Lord was showing me every single part of that kill was going to be used. Nothing was going to go to waste. And it was going to be preserved because there was a food shortage. And then it was the weirdest thing, because even though it was like pioneer days, I knew my mother had a car. And it was parked up on the road from the cabin. And the next thing, we were at that car and she opened the trunk up. And inside were lunches that you would feed your kids, that you would send them to school with. It was like juicy juice boxes and, lunch meats and snacks and things like that. All the things that were like, I knew that a trunk full of it. I knew it was like, wow, that's the serious prized food right there. That was rare. And she was taking some out and putting them in her arms and was going to bring them back to the little house in the woods or cabin or whatever. Now, this could be looked at in a spiritual way, as far as the meat of the word, or, the kids at school, Jesus University, or it could be looked at literally, which I believe it's literally God showing that food shortages are coming and that the school is going to be hurting for food. And the Lord has been telling many people with dreams and visions to stock up. And I have a friend that lives not far away from me. Years ago, the Lord told her that famine was coming. And they actually sold their house in the valley and moved up into the mountains and bought a place up there to where they have like a catfish pond and, ducks and chickens and eggs, and they're kind of off grid. But I remember her telling me about this a couple years ago, that the Lord had showed her in dreams that this was coming and she was prepared. And she also, now that I think about it, she also had a dream that she shared with me, that she was at a school up in the mountains. And I know what school this is, because she lives kind of where I used to live when I was a kid. And she said she went to this school and people were trying to get food from the school. I can't believe I forgot this, but the Lord just brought this to my remembrance right now. But the kids were trying to get food, and even the parents were there trying to get food, like kind of how they're doing right now with the drive-through, with the lunches and stuff. But there was nothing to eat. And she said she walked around the back of this school, and there was like these woods, and she saw these deer. And these deer were actually eating each other. The deer were eating each other because they were so hungry and they were skinny and emaciated. Okay? Deer do not eat flesh. Deer eat grass and leaves and things like that. But I don't think the deer are literal. I think deer would never eat each other. I believe it's another representation of starvation. That's how bad it's going to be. As the deer were likened to a lot of things in the Bible. I just believe that I don't think we're going to be eating each other, but you know what I mean? It's symbolic, okay? And I was also shown in a dream where a sister called me on the phone. We were talking on the phone. This was recent too. And she said, you know, Costco is going to stop accepting food stamps, or has stopped accepting EBT food stamps. And I said, what? Really? I was like, wow, that's really extreme, you know. And in the dream, in my mind, I was like, wow, something really crazy happened for that to be going on, you know. And in another dream, I was looking down through a Costco and everything was cleared out, cleaned, gone. Survival equipment, everything, camping supplies. Okay, sorry, I was interrupted, but yeah, it was completely just empty. There was nothing left. It had been cleaned out. And I had an awake vision that a couple of years ago that I saw like a utility rack with like a couple weeks of food left on it. And the cans were tipped over. It was canned food. So, you know, just take it to the Lord. Ask the Lord about it. He will answer you. I can't, you know, what I'm shown, I can't just be one of those people that's like, well, you know, the rapture's probably going to happen before that. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see, but I know that we're closer than ever. We're closer than ever to the start of the tribulation. And I don't know what we're going to see, but if God is telling people to stock up, then, you know, we're already going through, you know, we've already went through quarantine and food shortages and not being able to find anything. So it's not like we haven't experienced something already and we're still here, you know. All right. I love you guys and God bless you.